Ugh, it is cold, it is wet, and it is horrible, so I've decided I'm not going to run today. Said running man Sam never. I'm just about as likely to not run in the rain as I am to stop buying running shoes. I'll let you work out how likely that is. Let's go. So if you find this video helpful, please help me by subscribing for those hours we put into filming and editing. So please help me out by subscribing, and I hope you're enjoying this content. So it is absolutely lovely out, but we are going to go and get this recovery run done. We're going to talk about different types of runs. Another point, we're going to talk about sort of why we do long runs and why we do intervals, recovery runs, all that sort of thing. But today we are focusing on one thing in particular, and that is after run stretching. I don't know about you, but there's just something about going out and running when it's pouring with rain. The satisfaction at the end is even better, and the looks on everyone's faces on the cars as they pass you, it's brilliant. So you might be thinking, I can't be bothered to do any stretching after I run, and I am completely with you on that. Neither can I. But there is a reason why we do it. So I never used to stretch, and I used to think, nah, I'll be fine. I've been training all my life, I'll be alright. Well, now I've changed my mind. So it wasn't until after I did my first marathon, and I got really badly injured after that, because my muscles all seized up. I had a hot bath, which is the worst thing to do, but we'll talk about that another time. And yeah, after that I realised just how important stretching is after a run. So when we run, no matter how healthy we are or how fit we are using our bones and our muscles. When we increase our load or run fast or run far, then we're putting those muscles and bones under extra strain. Why, when you are finished a run, you might feel like your glutes are sore, or your calves are sore, your lower back. How do we get around this? By stretching. So I'm not talking about static stretching before a run, because that's something you really shouldn't do. I've got a book today that we're going to use to give a little bit of evidence to what I'm saying, called Science in Sport, which I call my running Bible. Obviously I look at other sources. Not been running in a while. Talking while running is proving to be a little bit difficult. So we'll do our best. So when we are running, we're predominantly using our glutes, our hamstrings, our calves, our quads, lower back. You guessed it, pretty much everything's involved. Why do we stretch? Is it going to make me faster? Is it going to make me fitter? Yes and no. It's not going to make you faster, but what it is going to do is it's going to help lengthen those tight muscles and increase your range of motion. So when you're sore, if your calves are sore, then your other muscles are working harder to pick up the slack, and then obviously this increases your risk of injury, and obviously can also have an impact on your running. Just had a quick stop to talk because like I said, I found it a bit difficult to talk while running. Shows the impact that an injury has, which is why it's even more important to stretch, because you don't want to be doing this. Trust me, it's so annoying. So why do we stretch? We stretch to try and prevent injury. It cannot be guaranteed because anything can happen. We do stretch to help reduce chances of injury, We're reducing this because we're increasing our range of motion in the muscles, increasing the flexibility, allowing the body to work properly, allowing the muscles to fully extend and fully contract, going through full range of motion, and other muscles or other areas aren't having to compensate for one area being tight. Now take plantar fasciitis for example. This can be caused because the plantar fascia, the band underneath your foot, is working too hard to take up slack from your tight calves or your tight glutes or your tight hamstrings. Stretching is really important because you do not want this. You do not want plantar fasciitis. I have it and it is horrible. But it's not just plantar fasciitis, you can get lots of other things. So what we're going to do is, after this run, we're going to go through my stretching routine. Just ran past a fish and chip shop. Now I really want fish and chips. Personally, how it's helped me massively, it's helped me with this pain that I've got at the moment with my foot, because it's helping to relieve the tension in those sore muscles. So we're going to get this run done, go through my stretching routine. See you in a bit. So, not quite as slow as I wanted today. I just got carried away, but I was enjoying myself. I was enjoying it today. Maybe it was the rain, maybe it's the fact that it's the second run I've done where it's almost pain-free. 4 miles, average pace of 7 minutes 36 per mile. So we're going to go in and we're going to stretch. Really my favourite thing. Now, like I said, I cannot be bothered to stretch when I get in, okay? So it's not like I'm some sort of Stretch Armstrong or some gymnast or some yogi that loves a bit of stretching. I find it so boring. I just want to sit down, pig out when I get in for a run, but make time for it. Sounds preachy, I know, but you'll thank me in the long run. No pun intended. Okay guys, so we are back from the run, and I normally get straight into doing this. So I get in, I normally take my shoes off because I just feel a bit more connected with the stretch. If I haven't got my shoes on, I can stretch those toes out a little bit more. So we're going to go through my stretching routine. This is what I do after every single run, whether it's a mile or 2 miles or 3 miles, or intervals, long run, fast run, easy run, whatever it is, I do the same routine. So the first one I always do, especially because of my plantar fasciitis at the moment, is I stretch my calves. This is the gastrocnemius, which is the muscle at the top here is your gastrocnemius, and the one at the bottom here is just soleus. Okay, so to do this stretch, you are going to want a wall or something to push against. So I normally use this area here, so you can see, look, what a lovely man I am. Got the missus some flowers for Mother's Day. But, get on with it, Sam. So I put my hands against the wall like this, and then we put this back leg behind us here. We're going to switch to the other camera now. Bum out. And then what we're going to do is we're going to lean into the back foot. So we're pushing the heel towards the ground at the back, and we're pushing against the wall, keeping our legs straight. If we keep our legs straight, this is when we are working the gastrocnemius. So for me, I hold this stretch for a minute. I hold all of these stretches for a minute. So when you're doing this stretch, keep a good posture up here. You don't want to be slouching like this. A nice good posture maintained through all these stretches. So push against the wall, legs straight at the back. Okay, so once I've done that, I then do the similar stretch, but for the soleus, which is pretty much what we've just done there, but we bend the back knee as well. Stop the position that we was already in, but then we just bend this knee at the back as well. Stretching the soleus muscle. And this is very important for me to stretch at the moment with my plantar fasciitis, as when the soleus is really tight, this pulls against my plantar fascia. Once we've done it on the right leg, then obviously we do it on the left leg. Just quickly, when we are doing this exercise, make sure both feet are pointing forward. You don't want them pointing out because you're not going to be getting the stretch properly. So point both feet at the wall in front of you where your hands are. Once I've stretched my calves off, I then normally stretch my hamstrings. So to do this, you'll join me on the floor. Okay, so we're on the floor and now we're going to stretch our hamstrings. I don't like to do this one standing up. You can if you want, but try and avoid doing the one, you know, where you stand up like this and you bend down like this and you touch your toes. Now, although this might feel like it's giving you a really good stretch on your hamstrings, you actually are putting a lot of pressure there on your lower back. When I slipped, well, when I got trapped nerve, when I had sciatica, I was told do not do this stretch because it puts a lot of pressure on your lower back and on the sciatic nerve. So I prefer to do the stretch like this. So for this, I keep one leg bent, the other leg out in front of me, so nice and straight. This, and then as I do it, all I'm doing with this hand is I'm reaching forward and touching my toes, or as far down as I can go. Keep this leg bent like this. Again, if we do two legs like this, you'll bring the lower back into it a bit more. Keep the leg nice and straight, and you really can feel it underneath your kneecap in the hamstrings. You're gonna hold it so, when I'm stretching, I hold it so that it's not painful, but not comfortable. That's sort of in between stage. And then we're just sort of helping stretch and relax the muscles. But we're also not taking it into the point where we're going to end up straining or pulling or tearing something. Bring the knee up a little bit there and then stretch. You're still stretching the hamstrings, but you're moving it a little bit further back. And then once we have done that leg, we then swap over to the other leg, obviously. So this leg bent, this leg straight, bending forward like this. I'm going to touch that toe. Get as far as you can. If you can only get here, but just get to that point where it's a bit uncomfortable but not painful. And just like that, I made all the mess in the background disappear. Imagine if it was that easy. As we were on the floor, I'm going to go straight into stretching my pelvis and my hips. What we do is we put our feet together like this and then bring them close to your pelvis. The closer you are, the more deep the stretch is. Push down here with this. So if you can just get to this position, that's fine. If you can go a bit further, then do that. If you move your feet a little bit further out, you can get them a little bit further down, but it's not as much as a deep stretch. Concentrate on the form. You don't want to be sort of slouching or anything like this. You want to be sitting upright like this. Feel the stretch across to here. And here. Try not to bounce or anything like this, you just want to sort of hold the stretch. Okay, so as I'm on the floor still, I tend to do all the stretches on the floor because then it means I don't have to be like a yo-yo getting up, down, up, down, up, down. So, now that that's done, I'm then going to move on to stretching my glutes. So with this leg, we're going to push this forward like this. So try and keep this leg at a 90 degrees angle across your other leg like this. And then this is bent like that, and we're pulling this foot towards our chest and pushing up with the other leg towards here. And you really feel this in your glutes. Now the glutes are one of the major muscles used when we're running, because really if we're pushing properly when we run, we should be pushing off with our glutes. And then swap over to the other side. Then I move on to stretching my quads. For this, I'm also going to stretch out the front of my leg as well. I'm going to put my feet underneath me. It's going to give a little lean back like that. You can put your hands behind you, but you don't want to take too much weight. And you just, if you lean back like this, you can just feel it stretching here across the quads. And you can also feel it stretching your feet as well. The front of your shin, that muscle there, or them tendons there are going to be stretching, which you also want to do. Okay, so now that one is done, I'm going to do a final stretch here where I stretch out my quads again. So what we're going to do for this is we're going to have our leg behind us straight like this, and then we're going to have this coming down like that. Then what we're going to do is we want to push from the hips. So we're pushing from the glutes on the left side forward into this stretch. Okay, you don't want to be doing this or this or this or this or all these sorts of things. You want to have a nice upright chest like this and then push forward with the hips into it. So if we're doing this properly, you'll feel a nice sort of pull along here. Upright posture here, leg behind us like this, and pushing forward with this here, pushing our hips forward and pulling this sort of up. So we're sort of leaning into the stretch, but not falling into the stretch. Gotta love that fresh out the shower feeling. So this channel is about being incredible and credible. So we are going to go through the book that I've got, my little running Bible here, and just give a little bit of credibility to what I'm saying today. That you should do dynamic stretching before a run, not static stretching. Research shows that static stretching does not reduce the risk of injury and can actually decrease performance. can see here that static stretches can encourage you to relax after a hard workout. They help to reduce post-run stiffness and soreness and contribute towards maintaining muscle and joint flexibility. Okay guys, and there we have it. That is my stretching routine. I do this every single run, no matter how easy or how hard the run was. We're covering the glutes, the hamstrings, the quads, front of the leg as well, and the shin area, stretching out the tendons there, stretching out the toes as well. If you do these stretches, you will find that you're just going to feel a little bit looser after a run. I can't guarantee you won't get injured, but you are less likely to get injuries through sort of other muscles compensating elsewhere. I hope you have enjoyed this video today, guys. As always, I've been Running Man Sam, and I'll see you guys in a bit.